Iscapitalized says that if it takes a string as an argument and returns true if each word in its string begins with either an uppercase letter or a non-alphabetic character. If any of the words begins with a lowercase letter, return false. If the string is empty, return false. So I like to start with something like this. If the string is empty, return false. It means that for me, it's a small win. It's 5 marks out of 100 marks. So you know that is capitalized handles one particular case. If you try to test this, or is capitalized is going to okay, you run to return false for yeah. Okay, I'm just going to assume everything else is returning true for now until we add the rest of the code. So in the case of empty string now, it's returning false as the output. Now, to further understand the question, you can look at the examples too. Like sometimes the question may not be is enough for you to understand what they want from you. So this is like an example of like an input versus output. So if you check hello, how are you returns false. Why? Because there are two. A is small letter, Y is small letter. And they said that each word must be capitalized or each word must start with a capital letter or a non-alphabetic character. A non-alphabetic character could be this four, it could be this one. As you can see, uh, the third one returns true because it's non-alphabetic. This is non-alphabetic. In the case of what's this fourth one, it is the exclamation mark is non-alphabetic as well. So of course it will return true. So hopefully that helps you understand the question a bit better. Now, I think the main thing with this question is now how do you determine if a character is uppercase or non-alphabetic? I think when I was doing this, I actually had to create functions just for that purpose. So a non-alphabet, if an uppercase letter is any character, I can just decide to extract the first character of this. A non-alphabetic character or uppercase character is any character that is between. Let's do this first. CH equals to S 0. So when I try to index into a string like this to take the first character, it's going to return a byte character, which I don't want to get into explanation for, but for now, just know that it is important to convert it to a rune or single character, like I've been saying, isolation, which is usually enclosed with single quotes. Now, I'm going to try to check, okay, if this character, let's put it in a bracket because I want to do two conditions. So if this character is greater than or equals to A and less than or equals to Z, this means that it is an uppercase letter, right? They also said that, or non-alphabetic character, so for you to do that, I'm going to check this. A non-alphabetic character is any character that is not between A to Z, or sorry, it's not between small letter A to Z or small letter and capital letter A to Z. So that is we can store this in a kind of variable. So we can say something like is alphabetic. It's alphabetic Aesthetic equals to character. I don't know if this will even work. Uh, Greater than equals to a. Actually, you can even copy this. When I finish, I'll explain what I'm trying to do here. Which will be so any alphabetic character is either between this or between small letter a and z, and then its uppercase is just this. Just say which will be so to explain what I'm doing. We're looking for non-alphabetic character, but first off, to get non-alphabetic, we need to first identify what is alphabetic. So an alphabetic character is between A and capital letter A and Z, or between small letter A and Z. So if you want to check if something is not alphabetic, you can do something like this. If not is alphabetic, or so they said if not alphabetic, if it's either if each word in the string begins with either an uppercase letter or a non-alphabetic character. This by doing this it satisfies both conditions. So we do um, if it's not alphabetic, if it's a non-alphabetic character or uppercase, that means it's actually safe, right? I'm just going to return true, and then I'm going to return false here. Then I'm going to change my test case to, I'm going to just change this to just small letter h. So you see what's going to happen. Let me try this first. So the goal here is that if um, if the first character of this any of these strings here is non-alphabetic or uppercase, then we return true. This is just like testing our whether our condition works. So for example, this one should return false because it's neither non-alphabetic nor uppercase. Like it's a small letter. This H it does not classify among non-alphabetics or uppercase letters. So this one should return false. This is an uppercase letter, so which that is included in our condition, so it should return true. This other one too is an uppercase letter. This is an uppercase letter, and this is a non-alphabetic character. We've already checked if it's not alphabetic. So let me go just to I'm just going to simplify this so that it's easier to see. If alphabetic, if uppercase, alphabetic, uppercase. So now let's try it out. Okay, so it seems I can't write code like this. We are also hoping. Because in other languages I can do something like this. It seems I can't do this here. It's hard. Okay, I need to confirm whether this is possible in Go. Can we assign conditions like this? Is this possible and go long? Oh shit. I made an error. And ch. Yeah, so sausage. Ch. Yeah, okay. So as you can see, the first one returns false as expected because the first character here is neither non-alphabetic nor uppercase. It's not the conditions we want to return true are when we find an uppercase letter or we find a non-alphabetic character, which in this case is this. If I change this to a non-alphabetic character like dash, that should return true as well. But at the moment, it's only the first one and the last one, which is an empty string, that will return false because they don't satisfy that condition. Let's try dash run. Yes, so nothing's going to change because this is a non-alphabetic character. So now we now have the trick for identifying the conditions that is described for the start of a word. Now they also said if any of the words begin with a lowercase letter, return false. So I'm going to add that as well. Lowercase equals this. So the reason why I'm doing this is because of I know you might be wondering why I'm storing this inside a variable or it's actually like new to you, but it just makes things look neater to me. You can also just come here and put this here. I'll just see, you can put this here. But you see how it's long, which I'm not a fan of. Like it still do the same thing, although I have to comment these ones now since I'm no longer using them. I'll comment all of them out. Oh shit. So if I run true, okay, so I'm going to have to make some separations here. If not, I need to put in alphabetic parts inside. So this part handles checking whether it's alphabetic and we now want to negate it if not alphabetic. That's our goal. And then or is uppercase. So you see how this thing looks very long, that's what I was trying to avoid by storing the result of the comparison in a variable. And since I was back to what we had before, the first one is the only one that is small lowercase, so it returns false, and the empty string returns false. Now to continue, I'm just going to undo because I actually missed my variables. Oh no, it's not undoing. If not alphabetic, if not alphabetic or uppercase, return true. So now the next thing I'm going to try to do now is to look through the string because char equals hs. Now let's move all this up top. Okay, so now that I'm here, I'm going to check. So I'm going to put this here. Out this. Okay, we no longer need this this is equivalent to this at this point in time. Like this and this are pretty much the same thing. So CH is just going to get us the rune version that we're looking for. Yeah. So going through now. The main issue with this question now is figuring out, okay, how do we know when we've gotten to a word? Because we want to only do make this check when we get to the start of a word. So I had this idea that, oh, we need to store some kind of variable that indicates that, oh, we have gotten to the beginning of a word. So I'll say that, oh, start equals to um why are you looking at that? Basic is this. So I'm not signing it yet. So we know that we encounter a word anytime we get to space, right? So like anytime I've encountered the space, we know that we've found a word, a new word. And while looking through this string, we want to be able to identify each time we encounter the start of a new word. So I'm going to do start equals to 0 because obviously the that's true. If I use this stuff, mm, start equals to 0, I'm going to have a counter as well. Count equals to 0. I'm just going to increment my counter count plus plus. Mm, okay. Um, is how I think through problems in an exam. So it's not exactly very in that any process. Anyway, um, I will explain why I'm adding all these variables now soon enough. So we know that once we get to once we encounter a space, once the current character is space, it means that we've encountered the start of a word. So I'm going to update start to be equals to current count. That's it. Let me use instead of using count, I'm just going to use I plus plus. So what this means is that while looping, we pass through H, we pass through E, we pass through L, and I is at this point has gotten to 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then this is 6, right? Whatever, I don't think we need to, we don't need a, we just need to set this to true. Mm, okay, so the two things I do here, if I not equals to 0, not equals to 0, then I'm going to say our start equals to false. So the purpose of adding that there is because if while looping the first character, if I equals to 0, oh, figuring out this question here is just wait. So while looping starts not equals to 0, not equals to 0, start equals to false. So we keep going. Now if if we encounter this, we say start equals to true. So if start equals to true and the character is lowercase, then return false. Start equals to true and lowercase, return false. Just realize I don't need this if just need to check for whether the word starts with a lowercase letter. Oh, okay. So if the start is true and the lowercase is true, return false. And if you encounter a space, it means that the start is true. So let me try to walk through what will happen. This my code. So when it comes through here, is equals to 0, so it's not going to see that condition. But at this point, start is true, so it's at the beginning. And it checks, okay, if start is true and lowercase return false, this will identify any lowercase letters at the beginning of each string. So in this particular case, every single string here is in lowercase. Now, while looping, and also when it checks this other condition, if this encounters a space, that means, well, yes, according to the beginning of according to the beginning of a word. So now, while looping now, let's use the first one as a case study. To come through H, and then when it gets to E, oh, I is not equal to 0 in this particular case, because if I is not equal to 0, it means that it's not at the beginning anymore. So now we're going to set that start is false, because we're now like inside a word, we're no longer at the start. So in this particular case, since start is already false, like the next condition is not going to bother with that one. So like since what we're checking for whether start is true, and the character is not space as well, so the next condition is not going to work. So it continues like that until finally it encounters a space, and now we cannot say, oh, start is true. I think I should even move this up for a reason that I will explain later. Start is true. But if when I say start is true, I'm just going to break. So if once we check that, we counter the space now, we're going to make it go. I'm going to break. Let's continue. Skip to the next one. I'm going to make it continue the loop to the next character. So when it comes here to capital letter H, this first condition, we don't really care about it, but that's true. If I not equals to 0, that means I keep setting this start to false every single time. Well, just realize that. So my condition here is saying that if I not equals to 0, start equals to false, and we don't really want that. If I not equals to 0, and and the character not equals to space. Now, so this means that, okay, in the first case, I is not equal to 0 and the character is not equal to space, so it's not going to apply that condition there. I is not equal to 0, and okay, the character is not equal to space now, so it will set the start to false. False, that don't continue. So comes to the next one. I is not equal to 0 and the character is not equal to space, so keep setting start to false every single time, all through these 6 characters. And every time I encounter this, I should not bother checking the other conditions. So Well, how continue does, it just tells it, okay, skip. Like, um, once it comes, identify this condition to be true, to send the star to false, and I don't want it to bother checking any of these other conditions. So just move on to the next one. Let's make sure this I plus plus is always increasing. Sure. Over top. Okay, I can actually do this here. Well, this will be easier if I just use the normal loop. I think I'm going to switch instead of doing this. I'm just going to use y equals to 0. I less than line of this y plus plus ch equals to s I. Okay. So now this, we don't need this anymore. We don't need this at all. Okay. So let me go through now. So if I not equals to 0, and the character is not space. Oh, first one I is 0, so let's go to the next condition and the next condition after that. And if start is true and lowercase, to return false. Now if it goes to the next one, I is not equal to 0 and ch is not equal to space. So to this start to false and continues. So L O does not show all of this. So if you counter space now, so that first condition is not going to be valid anymore. So it goes to the next condition. If it is space, start equals to true, continue, go to the next character. So in this next character, I is not equals to 0. I say this one needs to be first. Because the moment we encounter a lowercase character, we want this. This is the most important condition. So the moment you encounter the lowercase character at the start, we want to return immediately. Means that there's no point checking the rest. So when it gets to this, if starts equals to true and lowercase, so that is not true. So it goes to the next condition. If I not equals to 0 and character not equal to space, so it says start to false and continues. It says start to false again and continues. And then we go to space now, a counter space. So a counter space now, so start is now equals to true. Continue. Alright, I think I'm ready to test this code. Let's see. So the final condition I check a return true means that we did not encounter any lowercase letter throughout looping through the string. So let's run expected turn of statements. Where is that? End of s. Oh, I'm not going to see where this coming from. So it is that goes to true. I equals to 0, I is an end of s. I plus plus ch equals to 1 as I logo. Is it? Oh, that's true. I can do this. I can do this. So I don't think I got it. So we have false, 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 true, false. Now start debugging. Where have I gone wrong with my logic? I think in this particular case, hello, how are you? It should be true. So if returning false, it means that we're wrongly identifying something somewhere. That must be why. So if start equals to true and lowercase, then did any of that become true at any point? Hmm. Logic is not logic enough, so I planned for it to logic. So if the start is true and lowercase return false, um, let's see. Could it be equals so this may continue? Hmm, not sure. Yeah, secondary one may continue. The continue is kind of useless anyway. Because if any of these conditions are wrong, it's useless. So if start equals to true and lowercase return false. If I not equals to zero and character not equals to space, start equals to false. Hmm, so hello. So what's going wrong? When we start to control and lowercase control of this particular case. The other option is without trying to debug. But definitely, so now I'll start trying to say, okay, where am I going wrong? What value is not behaving as I'm expecting? This is what they call debugging. So I'm expecting, I'm just going to test with this one. Oh, wait, oh, that's false. That's true. And this one was false. Why? and you return false. Tabliczkę. Oh, why you? Oh, lowercase start. Oh wow. So start is already true. So it's already true. That's all now. Oh, that's true. Start is true. It was never updated. So if I not equals to zero, so it's probably what logic is going wrong here. So what I notice is that on capital letter W, lowercase is false and start is true. And what I was expecting was that after it gets through that first character, it will update start to false. But since my logic was flawed, because what is actually happening is that start is never getting updated to false. Start is currently is true in the first and second time because apparently when it goes through, if I not equals to zero, no, I should remember this. If I do this, if it's huge, it's not space, start equals to false. That's all it. I'm not sure. Yeah, I think I should solve it. So when it goes through this first one, this character is not space. So obviously, if it doesn't encounter a space, then we can say that start is false. Something like this might work. Let's see. Yes, it seems that gets me the correct output now. Let's comment this out now. Let's see. Uh, so now it actually gets to the ending of the string. You can see that we now find any lowercase character. Then what happened here was, let me try the other ones first. False, true, 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 false. Seems I have the right answer now. Let's enter this under each case. What to give multiple spaces? Does it correctly identify? Yeah, it still works. So I think this is the correct answer. I don't know about this. I don't know what I did for. So that's a small bulk. And apparently you can just put else. But we're checking if not this. We're checking if this. So this isn't something else. Hmm. Oh, it's more simpler than expected. So now I showed you guys a bit of what debugging helps you with. I used FMT just to print. Let me even undo it. I use FMT to like see how the values are updating because I'm checking these two values, lowercase and start, and I noticed that um, for some reason everything a particular string that I was expecting. I think I was trying this. I was trying this, and I noticed that oh, because of what I did before. I move this here. I noticed that because of what I did before. Because I was checking if I not equal zero, which was hindsight. In hindsight, not very smart. I was encountering a very weird bug. So let's see again what happened. I had a very wrong idea about this stuff. Oh, maybe I know something here. Mistake. Oh, but what the issue was. This was it now. So why I not equal to zero and character not equals to space. So it's the issue that I had. Hmm. It's not getting to the end. Uh, so I'm going to return true based on that mistake I made earlier. And I'm not remembering the mistake I made. A start equals to true, lowercase, return false. If I not equals to zero, it was it I. Oh, forgot what I did. I'll have to watch the video back. Anyway, so that's how I find a way to solve my question. I think this account now just to explain my solution. I'm just going to format this to look nice. So main.go false, true, false. Okay, so apparently I didn't want it I could simplify this to now use ch h s. This also works. False, true, false. If I were to change this to a small letter, I'll let's divide it. So it does work. So let's know that this is still the same thing as this. Start equals to this. Should be false, true, false. Oh, I need to put this in brackets. Was that the one outdated? Oh, false, true, false. Okay, that was one outdated. That's anyway. So when you see it like this, you see that if we are the start of a word, what's happening, if we are the start of a word and that character is a lowercase character, the return false immediately means that the word is not capitalized. So each time it gets to something like A, it's just return. It's not even bother trying to go to check the other ones. Now, if we check if the character, and the way to now find out whether a character is, whether we're at the beginning of a word is if the character is space. If we encounter a space character, we update to false. Otherwise, our start is true. That's the key trick for this question. So when we encounter space character, we change this to false, and then the loop continues to the next character, and automatically it just knows that the next character is sorry, if it's better if I were to do that way around. If start equals to this, to look more readable. So if you encounter, just click on this, it works. So if you encounter a space character and start is equals to true. Now, when it comes to the next character, it's not checking. But since start is true now, and if start is true and the character is a small letter, return false. As simple as that. Uh, but that condition in this particular case is not true. So the next thing to check now is that if the character is space, to set that to start true, but the character is not space. So in this particular case, this since it's not space, that means we're entering a word. So you now say you now they start to false. Then you come to the next one, you come to the next character, HO, you come to HO, and start is now false, right? So the first condition is not going to check it at all. But it's also going to check if the character is space, and in this case it's not space, it will do nothing. So it means that start is just going to stay as false and continues like that until it encounters a space again. Now once your this start to true, you now notice that that's come back into that first condition if start is true. And if start is true and the character is small letter, finally we have found our culprit. Don't false immediately. Don't care about any other one. We have found the criminal inside our code. So I think this source is capitalized, but you can go check whether AI can do any better. So when I solve a question, I like to see whether there's a better solution. That is, for me, that is how I learn. It's the, just see. So I'm just going to say, and this is the better solution. Is mine good? Well, I don't see how this is condensing anything. It's as far as I'm concerned, my solution is good. And it's just trying to I had more stress. So I don't think I care about this. If he told me that, if he told me that my solution is good, but maybe I did some repetition, I would understand. But he saying make it more goal like, and when he says that, it's not usually very helpful, in my opinion. Let me try to retrieve. If start of word equals to true. So if you start of word, if you say start and zero okay, case letter will fail immediately. If the current character, the next character will be start otherwise. Money. Ah, I got to come to try and understand that. I've solved the problem, I've solved it. That's the end. Um, it was actually quite simple, but uh, these problems, like at first, it might look complicated. In my own case, I think it took me a long time to solve this the first time I encountered it in the checkpoints. And my solution was actually longer than this. And despite encountering this for the second time, it still took me a while to figure out how to solve it again. Like I think this was probably my first checkpoint I saw this question. So I was like, so 3 weeks ago or four. Anyway, that's the end of my class. The video is quite long, but ciao.